It is Thursday, March 6th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by Dream Finders Homes. And now, coming in like a lion and going out like a lion with less hair, J.P. Shadrick.
And welcome in. It is Jaguars Happy Hour. J.P. Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Busy hour ahead. And here's what's coming up on the show today. The Jaguars planning to release Christian Kirk. We'll get to that. Mitch Morse has announced his retirement. That was earlier today. We'll discuss what that means for the Jaguars moving ahead. A free agency preview and the aftermath of the NFL Scouting Combine. All that on deck today. Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Dream Finders Homes, official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. Jeff Lageman joining us now. Hello, how are you?
Doing fantastic. How about you?
Good, doing really well.
How did you do at the 40-yard dash at the Combine?
If you put a ham sandwich out there, I will run really fast.
Have you ever thought about doing that? You know, kind of like a Rich Eisen thing where you do the 40?
I'd have to really, stretch
we
before
should,
and after.
We should have a contest, me and you, maybe, to see who can
I'd
run.
beat you.
You think you could beat me?
I know I can beat you.
We got to have a little. We got to have a little wager on this.
I mean, your daughter was just in here talking about how old you are.
I know. So are we going to do this, or are we going to have a little?
I'm down for it.
I mean, I'm not exactly the cheetah, neither are you.
Speak for yourself.
And people aren't going to want to pay.
I'm faster than I look.
To see me and you race.
Right.
But it would be interesting.
Who in their right mind?
I would have to do this in a very controlled fashion.
Very controlled. This reminds me, this harkens back to the early days when we kind of first got started on the digital side here on Jaguars.com.
Mm-hmm.
I challenged Baselli to the 5K through the stadium.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It didn't go well.
Yeah.
I stayed with him. This is before his bad hip again.
It was a bad hip, but it hadn't gotten really bad.
It hadn't broken in half.
Yeah, at that point.
I stayed with him for like a half mile. And then I couldn't keep up. He just kept going.
That's not very good.
I'm like, whoa, okay.
So what you're saying is that you're meant for shorter distances.
I'm a sprinter. That's what I'm saying. Come on, man. Don't I look like a sprinter?
I remember the Combine. Gosh, it was a long time ago. Obviously in 1989, but and it's changed tremendously to where it's become a media event, and it wasn't so much of one back then, but. The amount of fanfare that it gets is really amazing, considering that all it really is a medical check for the most part. But the media side of it has made it an attraction, which is good for the NFL. It's good for the game. But I don't know if I don't get glued to it, but some people think it's great.
We went to the Combine, and I could have cared less about the workouts on the field. We left before most of the position groups even got on the field. We were out of town. So that's changed a lot, too.
I would love to know, honestly, what percentage of general managers in the National Football League actually watch it? Whether they're there in person or they're in their office watching the stream on the NFL Network or whatever. But, I mean, I would think that it would be an incredible waste of time for a GM to watch the Combine.
Well,
give me the numbers. Give me the medical facts. And, okay, let me spend my time watching film. If general managers are spending more time watching the Combine performance than they are watching film, that team's got a problem.
The medical part, yes. The interviews, yeah, that's an important part of the piece too, right?
I'm not a big. I don't know if I'm a big proponent of that even.
You don't even like that. 20 minutes for the guy?
And the reason why is that and I've watched a lot of the interviews that have happened. It's just you can prepare yourself. You can prepare a client if you're an agent. You can prepare anybody to sound good for 10 to 15 minutes. The proper way is you want to interview people and you want to be able to talk ball and all that. But I like the idea of when they come into your facility and it's not in a controlled environment where there's a clock about to go off and say, okay, time's up. because I think anybody can put on an act for a period of time. The most important thing is not so much the interview. To me, it's about vetting the player. It's talking to people that have been around him wherever he's been and where he's currently at right now. People that aren't going to just give you political mumbo jumbo to impress upon you that the player's a great guy. I want to find out for real, how did he react in certain situations going back to high school, to college, and what kind of a teammate is he? What does he do when nobody's looking? That kind of a thing. And I think that's the proper vetting. And I don't know if we actually, as an organization, have done the proper amount of that in our history. We've drafted some players that have had some questionable backgrounds. And I think if you properly vetted guys, that some of that would not have happened. And the other part of that, I think, is, look, you're getting ready to invest millions of dollars. If you're getting ready to get in a relationship with somebody from a business standpoint, you're committing $5, $10, $20 million to somebody in a business relationship. Why would you not want to have all the facts and information that you possibly could on that player? To me, you got to have the resources in-house, or to commit the resources to have somebody out of house actually do the vetting to make sure that you're making good decisions, because as the new general manager said, intangibly rich players are the kind you want. And you don't find out about those intangibles unless you're properly vetting the player.
That's how that works. We'll get back to the combine here in just a little bit on Jaguars Happy Hour. The Jags have hired a new head coach. The opponents are set. Season, group, and suite ticket deposits are now available. You can be the first in line to select your seats for next season. Place your deposits at jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman on 1010XL, jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube. It is Jaguars Happy Hour. Well, this news kind of popped yesterday on social media that the Jaguars were expected to part ways with Christian Kirk. That has not officially happened yet.
Who reported that, by the way?
Everybody, and the whole deal.
I mean, was there an initial source?
Sources say the Jags are going to get rid of Kirk.
Yeah.
And it would save about $10 million on the salary cap next year. A guy who missed a lot of football, 1,100 yards in 2022, only 20 games played over the last 2 seasons combined.
Which is obviously one of the main reasons why his numbers weren't what they were going back to 2022. Mm-hmm. Christian Kirk's still a good football player, very good football player. Now, look, I would hope that the door, and I don't think you should close the door on anybody for the most part, unless it's bad character guy, then you can slam the door. But when you have a good football player where maybe the pay is not commensurate with the play, then I think there's a point where maybe you can get there, and sometimes it takes releasing the player in order to get to that. And so I would like to think that the door is not closed. Maybe there's a possibility of him coming back on maybe a better number. I know that Liam Cohn had said, the head coach had said, a few weeks ago about how I'd like to have Trevor Lawrence kind of involved on some of the decisions when it comes to this football team. I think that's one of Trevor's best friends, right? And one of his favorite targets. So, until something actually happens, let's kind of wait and see what actually happens.
It's a lot of money on the sideline, though, if he's not playing. He hasn't finished the last 2 seasons.
No doubt. I mean, and that's, look, availability always supersedes ability. And that everybody knows that. And availability is one of the key components to be able to reach the end of a contract. And not many guys do. So I hope there's a way to keep him. I think he's a good football player. If there's a way to get to a number that is better reflects the production over the last couple of years, then I think you got to consider maybe bringing him back.
Is Parker Washington ready to step in?
I think Parker Washington is super ready for the next step. If I had a choice between Christian Kirk and Parker Washington, I mean, that's, if you said – you can only keep one. Right. You kind of lean towards Parker just because he's younger.
Okay. Younger and cheaper.
But he's different. See, Parker. A lot of people look at Parker because of his stature, right? Shorter, bulky. They think that he is nothing but maybe a slot receiver. And I don't think really anything could be farther from the truth. I think Parker Washington has the ability to move outside and also have great success outside. I think Christian Kirk is more of a true slot guy. Parker, I think, is more of an outside guy, but he's also incredibly strong. I think the yards after the catch, I think, a little bit better than Christian Kirk's, but both good football players. And Parker being younger, sometimes you got to take that leap of faith and commit to the younger guys sometimes.
That's why, Christian is not designed to be running those routes down the field a lot of times where he got hurt, right? If he's supposed to be a slot guy, he's forced outside sometimes. A little bit out of place.
I think the biggest concern right now when it comes to the offense and the wide receiver position is Gabe Davis's number. The production last year did not match where you would like to have him be at for the number that he's at, and you're committed to him. When I say you're committed to him, he's going to be on this football team. I'm pretty sure of that from a cap standpoint. And you've got to get the productivity to match where his number is at right now. And I hope that it can get there. But it's not like you can just move on from Gabe Davis. But
nope.
Did not have a great year last year. And, and look, the reality is that Trevor was hurt too. And, he had a backup quarterback in. And there are a lot of things that, new system. All of those things I think are factoring in. But, again, production needs to equal the pay level, and it did not last year.
It would still cost, excuse me, for Gabe Davis, he signed a 3-year, $39 million contract. Cap hit's 6.4. The dead cap's 20.3 on him this year. So he's here.
He's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Now next year,
well,
it's the other way around by $3
I don't
million.
want to say that. You never say never. I think there's always a way that he could end up not being here, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think he will be here. Mm-hmm. I was excited about the acquisition of him last year just because he's crafty. He does a great job as far as making the field stretch. Not that he's a burner, but he's a crafty deep ball wide receiver. And I think there's some things that he can do to become a better teammate, to be more productive, and to be more of a productive player for this football team. And if he can put up some of those numbers that he's put up in the past in Buffalo, then he's worth the pay.
Let's come back in a moment. We'll get to the news of today. Mitch Morse announcing his retirement, the Jaguars center.
That's a good conversation because there's some people that are saying some things about that are just way off base.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Mm-hmm. And somebody who I'm talking about.
Do I?
Short guy, got a big mouth.
Doesn't narrow it down at all.
Initials PP.
Oh.
Yeah.
Back in a moment. This is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Hey, I'm Logan Cook, punter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Driving distracted or stolen is dangerous for you, and it's dangerous for everyone on the road around you. Ride with Do Not Disturb. That call, text, or social media message can wait. Choose your music before you turn on the ignition. Anytime your eyes are not on the road ahead, you're distracted, so pay attention. But remember, drive high equals DUI. Plan ahead, have a designated driver, keep a clear head to see clear ahead, and let's get everyone home safely.
It's Truck Month with the Ford crew.
Sam, do you know what these trucks have in common?
They're all Ford trucks.
And
they're built Ford tough.
Also true, but specifically they're Ford F-Series trucks, the best-selling trucks in America for 48 years.
48 years? We should celebrate a month-long event.
Sam.
A truckload of value.
Sam.
Across the entire lineup of Ford trucks.
Sam.
That's called Truck Month already, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I knew it.
based on 1977 to 2024 CY industry reported total sales.
Jags fans, here's your chance to score a trip to Green Bay for round 1 of draft night. Through the Everbank Draft Night Experience Sweepstakes, one lucky winner and a guest will be there live and in person to see the Jaguars make their first pick. To enter, visit everbank.com/draft by April 4th. That's everbank.com/draft. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry period from 3/3/25 to 4/4/25. For official rules, prize description, odds of winning, and other details, visit everbank.com/draft. Sponsor and administrator, Everbank N.A.
Floridians, do you know how close you are to freshness? It's not a plane or a ship ride away. It's not across an ocean or over the equator. It's not even a far drive. The peak of freshness is at your grocery store, and it's called Fresh from Florida. Fresh from Florida is local produce grown by farmers right here in our own state, meaning it's always fresh, always in season, and always mouth-wateringly good. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo or ask for it by name where you shop.
It's game time, Jaguars fans, and Publix knows that football is all about pairings. A high-scoring offense paired with a stingy defense. A rocket-armed QB paired with a dynamic wide receiver. And at Publix, you can pair hot deli chicken tenders with savory dips, delicious sub-platters with ice-cold beverages, and you can pair these tailgate essentials with an entire parking lot full of Jaguars fans chanting, Duval! Gear up for your tailgate at Publix, the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Three-pronged approach, and it certainly sounds like that's how it is set up. And having Tony Vaselli back involved, I think it's just a home run for the Jacksonville franchise. And this is something he really wants to do.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and when you see that and you hear that, the passion that he's going to bring to this job, because this man loves the Jaguars. He loves the organization. He wants to be part of a group that gets them back to where things were when he was rolling out there. So, yeah, I really like where they're going. I don't know James Gladstone as well as I hope to down the road.
And that's kind of
Liam Cohen. I was able to meet last year as the offense coordinator of the Buccaneers, and I could not have been more impressed. I came away from that one going, whoa! First time I'd ever met him and spent time with him, and I was juiced coming out of there.
It's Charles Davis, a man who wears many hats. NFL on CBS, Sirius XM Radio, NFL Media. He had coverage of the Combine in Indy, and all of our conversations available on Jaguars.com and in one video on Jaguars YouTube, all in a row. You can watch them all at once.
The hat that he was currently wearing was a Tiger Woods hat, I believe.
That's true. He's got some golf experience too.
Charles Davis, great guy.
Great guy.
One of the all-time great guys in the NFL media that I've had the opportunity to meet over the many years that I've been involved, not only as a player but as a broadcaster, and I'm a big fan of his work. I think he does a great job. Great job. Great guy, great job.
Jaguars football is presented by Fresh from Florida. It's always in season. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. You're a great guy too, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I don't care what they say in the other room about you at all.
Yeah,
really
that's
it. That's fine.
Some guy in the other room named Joe, he always talks bad about me.
Yeah. We're on 1010XL, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube. Glad you're with us for Jaguars Happy Hour today. Okay, Jaguars center after 10 years in the NFL. Mitch Morse today announced his retirement from the National Football League. Brandon Sheriff, the right guard, is a pending free agent as well. So the salty vets in the middle of the offensive line most likely are no longer here anymore.
Well, and look, congratulations to Mitch Morse. He's had a really a great career. Been a good football player. Has played a lot of football, and I guess somebody said something to it. I went and looked at it, and sure enough, it was Pete Prisco, the PP initials that I was referring to before we took a commercial break.
Shocking.
And in response, because D-Rock posted the information that
Mike DiRocco,
D-Rock, that Mitch Morse was announcing his retirement, and then Prisco made a reply to that and says another bulky gem of a signing, kind of being sarcastic.
I don't know if he's being sarcastic or not.
Well, I mean, it kind of gives you. I mean, when he uses the term gem, it's kind of.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
It's a little.
That's right.
Look, and here's the reality: Mitch Morse was a good signing. Okay, there's a lot of things you might be able to criticize Trent Baalke on, but that's not one of them. He upgraded the. Now you can criticize, some other things about some roster moves, but Mitch Morse is a good football player, and he upgraded the center position. He upgraded the offensive line this past year. Look, you're not going to be able to go out there and just upgrade it to a Pro Bowl caliber player whenever you want to, especially at the center position, definitely not at the tackle position, but he was a good player for this team.
What was he best at, and where were some areas that he lacked?
He didn't make any mistakes. Okay, he did a great job of leadership along the offensive line. I think he made the guys around him better. And most importantly, he upgraded the performance of the position from Luke Fortner.
There you go.
And that was really what was needed at that position. And I thought Mitch, the one thing he did a really good job, good in pass protection, never got just flat out beat quickly. At times he would get overpowered because it's just, he didn't have that strength of being in a phone booth kind of battle. Mm-hmm. You could probably say the same thing about Brandon Sheriff a little bit, that he didn't have the strength to win the battle in the phone booth. But two good football players, and I don't want people to talk badly. Look, they're entitled to if they want to. But I thought that Mitch Morse and Brandon Sheriff were good football players for this football team. Would you like to upgrade it and get, the big, strong, move them off of the line of scrimmage player? Sure. But also appreciate those players for the job that they've done here. If you're talking about issues with the offensive line, I wouldn't say that those two were the primary problem.
Well, this is where you want to get away from spending big in free agency at a position like that, right?
Well,
You'd love to draft that and develop it.
Well, look, you've tried to draft and develop that. Fact of the matter, look, you drafted Fortner. That hasn't worked out yet.
True.
Last year, you lost what I thought was going to be the future heir apparent at right guard to a horrific injury.
Cooper Hodges.
And Cooper Hodges, I'm a huge fan of Cooper Hodges, and I hope that his rehab goes well. From what I understand, it's a long road back. So sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And this team hasn't done a great enough job of drafting offensive linemen and developing them. They spent some high picks on the tackles, but they haven't really drafted and developed many offensive linemen over the years, and I think that's one of the things that's held this team back.
Ben Bartch is now playing for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, and he's a kind of a bubble player. When he was here, his feet weren't great. Strong guy, but feet weren't great, and he's kind of been a part-time starter for the 49ers. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's a frontline guy, and maybe he's developed into that. But when he was here, he was not a frontline guy.
Right.
But a strong guy. But
you can still maybe get he's gone now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But you got to look. The reality is that Sheriff's going to be a free agent. Mitch Morse is retired, which I didn't think he would retire. I thought he would continue playing. He still can play in the NFL. If you had to rank him as far as amongst centers in the National Football League, you'd probably put him in that third quartile.
We've got some breaking news. Tom Pelissero of NFL Network tweeting out on X just moments ago that the Jaguars are sending Christian Kirk to the Texans. A 2026 seventh-round pick coming to Jacksonville for Christian Kirk. The Texans take on the existing contract, $16.5 million this year, the final year of his deal. And that is a real tweet from a real account. So just moments ago, literally 5 minutes ago, that was announced on Twitter. Tom Pelissero with a report, NFL Network. Christian Kirk traded to the Houston Texans in the division trade. Fairly rare.
Yeah, it's very rare. And look, the Texans, Tank Dell has got a pretty significant knee injury that he's coming back from. And then the guy that they got from the Buffalo Bills.
Diggs.
Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Is gone, and he had an injury last year as well. So the Texans are looking for players, and that's a good landing spot for Christian Kirk. It's a division, so you kind of stick with some familiar faces that playing week in and week out, and then on top of that, Nico Collins might be one of the best top 5 wide receivers in football, in my opinion. So Christian Kirk's going to a place that there's a lot of attention that's going to be going to the other side of the field.
Right. And now the Jaguars get out of that contract and get a
what's that,
seventh-round
like
pick.
$10 million in cap savings ballpark with Kirk?
Yes.
Yeah.
But $16.5 million contracts going all the way to the Texans.
Right.
So there you go.
So I mean, I wish him well. But Christian Kirk's super solid guy.
Oh, fantastic to deal with.
Super solid guy. I mean, just, one of the top guys that's ever come through here as far as high character guy, good football player, and was what this team needed at the time that he signed.
Okay, so there you have it. That just happened moments ago. The Jaguars trading Christian Kirk to the Houston Texans. Are you, in general, a fan of in-division trades?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm not a. I don't. Look, I mean, here's the reality. Because everybody's worried, okay, do you trade in the conference? Do you trade in the division? Because, you don't want to make your opponents better. Look, if you're trading a guy, you feel like you can upgrade from that guy, right? I mean, that's the whole purpose of doing that, is that you can upgrade your team by trading that player. Maybe not upgrade that position, but maybe the Jaguars now feel like, hey, look, with that cap savings, we can now allocate those dollars to get better in some other position. And maybe we feel really good about the young guys that we have with Parker Washington and Brian Thomas Jr. and some of the other guys, and also the possibilities of future draft picks. And maybe we need to allocate those dollars of paying offensive linemen. I mean, wherever that may be. As long as you can improve your team by trading that player, I don't care where that player goes.
Let's come back in a moment. Plenty more ahead on a busy day as we lead into the NFL League year next week. The 2025 season will officially begin. Free agency will get underway. We'll discuss some pending free agents for the Jaguars coming up. Again, Christian Kirk just moments ago traded to the Houston Texans. Mitch Morse announced his retirement today, and this is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dream Finders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dream Finders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dream Finders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamFindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Jags fans, here's your chance to score a trip to Green Bay for round one of draft night. Through the Everbank Draft Night Experience Sweepstakes, one lucky winner and a guest will be there live and in person to see the Jaguars make their first pick. To enter, visit everbank.com/draft by April 4th. That's everbank.com/draft. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry period from 3/3/25 to 4/4/25. For official rules, prize description, odds of winning, and other details, visit everbank.com/draft. Sponsor and administrator, Everbank N.A.
We've spent a lot of time in our homes.
I'm on a Zoom call.
Dinner's ready.
But we've learned that when we love our home, it loves us right back. Now you can keep that love going when you install energy-efficient natural gas appliances and earn up to $1,925 in cash rebates. You'll love endless hot water, faster drying and cooking times, and ongoing savings and comfort. To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
Sims Crane and Equipment is the Southeast premier crane rental company since 1959, serving Florida, Georgia, and Alabama with cranes up to 800 ton for all of your heavy lifting needs. Sims Crane is the Tadano rough terrain crane dealer for the state of Florida. Inspired by the past, committed to the future. Choose Sims Crane and Equipment for all of your heavy lifting needs. Sims Crane is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, I'm Logan Cook, punter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Driving distracted or stolen is dangerous for you, and it's dangerous for everyone on the road around you. Ride with Do Not Disturb. That call, text, or social media message can wait. Choose your music before you turn on the ignition. Anytime your eyes are not on the road ahead, you're distracted, so pay attention. But remember, drive high equals DUI. Plan ahead, have a designated driver, keep a clear head to see clear ahead, and let's get everyone home safely.
When disaster strikes, trust the experts at Surf Pro. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they bring the same dedication and precision to restoring your property as the Jaguars do on the field. Whether it's water, fire, or storm damage, their highly trained professionals are on call 24/7 to make it like it never even happened. Surf Pro, your local leader in restoration and cleanup.
Most people know that he cut his teeth a bit with the Rams. He actually was at Kentucky the year that Will Levis had a terrific season at Kentucky. But what struck me about the Bucs' run game last year was how multiple it was. Because, everybody assumes, hey, he was with the Rams, so it's the zone run game, the McVay run game. But I thought they did a really, really good job with the multiplicity of the run game and the way they got to base run. See, the main thing in the run game, there's not 1,000 run concepts. So it's really how you get to them. It's funny, I had this conversation with a coach this morning, and I even asked him, I said, you hear people say so-and-so's a really good run game coach. Like, what does that mean? You're a defensive guy. What does that mean? And, he talked about how teams get to runs, formation, motions, misdirection looks, but then when the run happens, like I said, there's not 1,000 of them.
That is Greg Cosell of NFL Films and NFL Matchup. Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Greg Cosell, the nephew of the late great Howard Cosell. Does a great job with NFL Films and all the matchup on ESPN.
Yeah, it does a good job.
Really breaking down film and doing the whole thing on social media. And nice to visit with him at the Combine. Again, all the interviews at Jaguars.com and together on one video on Jaguars YouTube. And it's a busy time of year at Daly's Place, Logs.
Very busy.
Zach Top last night, like out of nowhere.
And how old is he?
Like
young
mid-20s,
guy.
maybe?
Young guy,
26,
right?
I don't know.
Yeah, you were telling me the story that he was going to be playing a local place, and then it literally sold out, and then they moved it to Daly's Place a couple days before, and then sold that out.
It sold out last night.
Zach Top.
Unbelievable.
Z-A-C-H, right?
Yes.
Zach Top.
He was fantastic.
Got to add him to my Spotify.
He was great.
Very nice.
So, great crowd last night. Coming up March 15th, the Coral Reefer Band. That's Jimmy Buffett's backing band. Tribute concert. Teddy Swims May 10th. T-Pain added May 31st. Styx. This is up your alley. Styx with Kevin Cronin and Don Felder, June 2nd. Logs.
Like the real original Styx?
I don't know how many are left, but I'm sure there are probably some members of Styx that will be there.
Yeah, that's one of the 70s bands. I was okay with them.
Okay.
Yeah, okay with them.
Cool. Tickets at dailysplace.com and more show information as well. Busy summer ahead there at Daly's. Again, the breaking news just moments ago, Christian Kirk traded to the Houston Texans for a 7th-round draft pick in 2026. Earlier today, Mitch Morse announcing his retirement from the National Football League, and we're less than a week away from NFL free agency beginning and the start of the league year. So a lot of pending free agents for the Jaguars. Do you bring some back? Do you not? How many? All that's in play right now, too. So there's a lot of business being dealt here in Jacksonville.
Well, and it's getting ready to get pretty exciting here, right? In the next week, right? I mean, doesn't the legal period start?
Yeah, the legal tampering period, if you will, the Monday and Tuesday, and then Tuesday at 4.
And that's when it's. I mean, look, it's already started. Let's not kid ourselves, okay?
Not here though. Everywhere else in the league.
Look.
I'm with you. I hear you.
Yeah, the conversations are happening however they need to happen. But, I mean, the reality is that by creating a tampering period, a known tampering period, essentially the league is acknowledging that we cannot stop it. So we're just going to call it a legal tampering period because we know it's going to happen even before the legal tampering period once we put that name on it. It is what it is. And look, looking at the free agent list, I think it's a little bit slim pickings this year. You're going to be able to, I think, fill some holes on your roster, which I think is always the main objective of free agency. But, I mean, you're not going to get any stars, I don't think. You're going to get guys that all have some kind of chinks in the armor, so to speak. I think the interesting one is Joey Bosa now, who is out there now.
Yeah,
after getting released by the Chargers.
It happened today, yeah.
And what will that do to the market of ends? I mean, Sweats kind of was that top guy on the market. Now you put a Bosa out there, and just the name itself attracts a lot of attention.
And then Bengals are letting Trey Hendrickson look for a trade deal. He's got 1 year left in his contract.
But gosh, that's going to be
a lot of money too.
It's a lot of money, and then it's also the price is going to be high. You're talking an elite pass rusher, arguably the best pass rusher in the last 2 years in the league, right? I mean, from a number standpoint.
he beat everybody by like 3 sacks last year, didn't he?
Well, the last 2 years he's been right there. Yeah. I mean, his numbers have, I think, beat Myles Garrett by a couple sacks each year.
Ooh. That's another guy that can look for a trade.
Which is –
Or he doesn't –
He's the physical freak.
He wants out.
Oh, yeah.
Browns don't want him out.
Look, and the Browns, where he's at, they just kicked the can down the road even further with the Deshaun Watson deal. I mean, the worst signing in NFL history. And the Cleveland Browns continue to just kick the can down the road. At some point, you got to pay the piper. You're just going to have to grin and bear it and do it. At what point can they just release the guy and say, you know what, we'll just spread the cap hit over X number of years?
Well, they could probably do that. I don't know. Maybe they feel they can still get some play out of it.
But that's like such a bad situation. And, that's one of the reasons why Myles Garrett wants out. It was the worst contract in NFL history. You had a reason to essentially proceed with caution with Deshaun Watson. It wasn't like the allegations weren't out there when they signed him. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like they popped up suddenly after they gave him a guaranteed contract. Just terrible decision by the Browns, and ownership of the Browns supposedly were at the forefront of that. And that's one of the reasons why Myles Garrett wants out. Can you compete when you have that lingering over your franchise?
It's tough to.
No, you can't.
It's tough.
Not a good situation.
If he plays well, okay, different. He hadn't played well, and he's been hurt. So,
not a good deal.
Haven't got anything out of it.
Not a good deal.
By the way, Wednesday, the 12th, is the start of the league year, 4 o'clock Eastern.
Correct.
So Monday, Tuesday,
Tampa
away, all day Wednesday.
Negotiate your contracts on Monday and Tuesday, and then announce them on Wednesday, which you're not supposed to do.
Right.
You're supposed to
agree to terms.
You're supposed to wait for the negotiations until free agency starts, which is a bunch of BS. It's happening even probably right now.
Right.
That's reality.
That's how it works.
Yeah. It's free agency, man, and I'm all for it. Let the guys make money.
Jags have some holes now.
Well,
so how many can you plug in free agency? There are some dollars coming back after this Kirk deal.
In a perfect world that you would plug all the holes in free agency. When I say plug all the holes, I'm not talking about top-end guys. I'm just saying – get somebody in there that's capable, and if they got to roll out as a starter for 2025, okay,
you can break the huddle.
Yeah, we're not scared. We'll be okay. Mm-hmm. But you try to fill in my opinion, you fill all the holes with guys that are okay, and then you go draft players that you want to replace them with. In reality, you'd love to keep. You'd love to have. A third or fourth or fifth round pick from 2 years ago or 3 years ago stepping in to the job right now, and then you sign a guy to compete. But, the backlog of draft picks are not suddenly roaring to the front to take control of some of these positions that you need help at. And that's one of the reasons why the team's where it is, because, there's not a lot of those draft picks that are ready to jump right in, and that's why when you have an injury like Cooper Hodges, you go, doggone it, he's a guy that you felt really good about, and you go back in Jaguars history, Tavian Banks was a guy that, and a lot of Jaguar fans are maybe too young enough to even remember him. He was a guy that was, I thought, going to be a great third down back for this organization, and had a bad knee injury, horrific knee injury, and really never made it back. But and Michael Cheever, another one who had an injury, and was drafted to be a center out of Georgia Tech. Mm-hmm. Good guy and was a good football player, and then had a back injury, and then career was cut short. So even though, first of all, you got to try to get a good player, And then you have to have a little bit of luck to have that player end up getting to the point where he's been a productive player for you, staying healthy, et cetera. But this franchise needs to get to the point, just like the Rams have been doing over the last couple of years, which James Gladstone was a part of, to where you're drafting and developing, drafting and playing, getting players that can come in and play football. Everybody thought the Rams after the Super Bowl, because of their cap situation, were going to be junk after that. They never got to the point of being junk. They went out and they drafted good football players without having a high amount of picks, and then were a good football team. This football team needs to get there.
And Gladstone was behind the scenes of most of that as the scouting.
Well, a big part of it. I don't. Do you see Sean McVay's comments on Gladstone recently?
What did he say?
Something about how Gladstone is an absolute stud, and he's excited about seeing what he does in Jacksonville. Okay. I want to say it was on Pat McAfee or something that McVay was on, and just, singing the praises of James Gladstone. And, when you see that, McVay's not going to blow smoke. There's no reason to blow smoke at this point. Gladstone's got the job. So when McVay comes out and says that as strongly as he does, then to me, I think that's just fantastic for the Jaguar fan base. Because if he's saying that, he means it.
Think about the amount of talent that has come out of the LA Rams and the McVay, Les Snead situation, right? 3 other head coaches now in the league have come out working for McVay?
Yeah.
That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, a little coaching tree he's got going on
and
there.
he's still under 40, isn't he?
And he's still incredibly young, and
he's 38.
Got a young family. And Les Snead, Les Snead was part of the first year of the Jaguars. He was a part of Tom Coughlin's staff. Him and Matt McCullough were kind of the two of the guys that were hustling free agents and things of that nature. When I say hustling free agents, dealing with a lot of the mechanics of free agents on their visit, because I remember Matt and obviously Les being involved in that heavily. 2 good guys, and Les is doing a great job. He's doing a great job. And I don't know if you happen to see some of his comments about bringing back their quarterback, Matthew Stafford, and how they kind of renewed their vows. And he talked about the future, about trying to find, an heir apparent. And he's a very, very well-spoken, got great opinions on what it takes and how the system works and what the NFL is like. He's a smart guy. Les Snead is a smart guy.
I'll give you $1 if you can name his hometown.
Les?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
It's in Alabama.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Birmingham.
Nope.
Tuscaloosa.
No chance. You're not going to get it.
It's a small town?
It's very small.
Selma.
No.
No. I give up.
It's a town called Eufaula, and it's right there on the Georgia line.
Yeah, it's right on the Georgia line, yeah.
That's where he's from.
Yep. Drove through there quite a few times.
Highway 82 goes right through there, I think.
I think it does.
U.S. Highway 82.
Yeah. And
nice old houses on the main road.
What's the name of the Georgia town on the other side? Columbus? Columbus.
No, you're talking about Phoenix City. That's up the road. This is further south.
Okay.
Follows further.
I'm trying to think of the name of the Georgia town that's close to the border. Anyway.
It starts with a C, though. We're back in a moment.
Anyway.
We're talking geography now.
Yeah.
We've gone off the map.
Way off.
Back in a moment. We'll wrap it up for the day. A busy day around the Miller Electric Center. From the Hyundai Studios, this is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dream Finders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dream Finders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dream Finders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamFindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
And that's a Magellan first down.
Move the freight. Move the freight. Move the freight.
Would you like to control your own income? Work at Magellan Transport. Voted the coolest office space in Duval. Bring your talents and let your career flourish. Visit their website at MagellanLogistics.com and apply online. Trust service. Trust Magellan.
Can you imagine rising for work before the crack of dawn? Tending to hundreds of acres of land before dusk? Well, that's what happens on 47,000 Florida farms every day. Florida's farmers work hard to grow nutritious food for you and your family. And you can help support them by enjoying delicious fresh from Florida produce. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo where you shop or visit freshfromflorida.com to learn more.
It's Truck Month with the Ford crew.
Sam, do you know what these trucks have in common?
They're all Ford trucks. And they're built Ford tough.
Also true, but specifically they're Ford F-Series trucks, the best-selling trucks in America for 48 years.
48 years? We should celebrate a month-long event.
Sam.
A truckload of value.
Sam.
Across the entire lineup of Ford trucks.
Sam.
That's called Truck Month already, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I knew it.
Based on 1977 to 2024 CY Industry reported total sales.
Hey, I'm Logan Cook, punter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Driving distracted or stolen is dangerous for you, and it's dangerous for everyone on the road around you. Ride with Do Not Disturb. That call, text, or social media message can wait. Choose your music before you turn on the ignition. Anytime your eyes are not on the road ahead, you're distracted, so pay attention. But remember, drive high equals DUI. Plan ahead, have a designated driver, keep a clear head to see clear ahead, and let's get everyone home safely.
Jags fans, here's your chance to score a trip to Green Bay for round 1 of draft night. Through the Everbank Draft Night Experience Sweepstakes, one lucky winner and a guest will be there live and in person to see the Jaguars make their first pick. To enter, visit everbank.com/draft by April 4th. That's everbank.com/draft. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry period from 3/3/25 to 4/4/25. For official rules, prize description, odds of winning, and other details, visit everbank.com/draft. Sponsor and administrator, Everbank N.A.
I think that the system that he will be able to bring into place will be one that is at least a way to surface where things are not right quickly so you can address them, and it will help provide things, in a way that makes sense and keeps making sense. So I think a system helps form an identity, and identity is really hard to keep over time, especially when you've had different people rotating through for a while, then it's hard to have an identity. So I believe that focus and that system and that structure creates a nice foundation to work from. That's where I think you will know what is a Jag, right? Like what are the traits what is our mission statement?
Cynthia Freeland, NFL media analytics expert, joining us at the Combine last week. The full interview and all of them available at Jaguars.com and Jaguars YouTube. And welcome back. Jaguars Happy Hour is presented by Dreamfinders Homes, official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're on 1010XL, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube, JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, our entire crew. Free agency March 12th. Off-season program April 7th. Business being attended to today. Mitch Morse retiring from the NFL, the Jags center. And then Christian Kirk, just a few moments ago, traded to the Houston Texans for a 2026 7th-round pick. The word was he was going to get cut anyway, so get a draft pick out of it.
Well, and part of the reason why I think a lot of times that information gets put out about, he's going to get cut, is to put everybody on notice that, hey, look, if you want them, here, give us a call.
Yeah. So that's the big news of the day. We were at the Combine last week, and we're sitting there, and I'm kind of scrolling around on the internet, and boom, here comes the NFLPA 2025 report card that the Players Association puts out every year. Just happened to pop up during the Combine week, and
this has been one of the greatest tools that the NFLPA has had available at their discretion since they came up with the idea of doing it.
How long have they done this?
Not that long.
Okay.
It didn't exist when I was playing. I wish it did. I think because the actual report card on teams have actually spurred change with a lot of teams that have had poor grades in certain categories. And the Jaguars overall ranked in the teams, I think it was 18th overall in the National Football League.
Well, they were 5th the year before overall.
5th?
Yes. So fell from 5th to 18th.
And some of the comments were quite striking if you read the overview. When asked what their top improvement area would be, each of the top three answers reflect low ratings of former head coach Doug Peterson. Players cite poor time efficiency, a lack of willingness to listen, and a weak team culture. All issues they hope head coach Liam Cohn will address going forward. The positive note on the summary says the team's recently upgraded physical facilities continue to receive strong grades, as does owner Shad Khan. And
all right, I have a quick comment/question.
Yeah.
It's always coaching in the NFL. We know this, right? I mean, it's not the blown coverages in the back end, the one-score losses where you might have thrown a pick.
It's a little bit of everything.
But they get the, players get the opportunity to go vote, and after the fact, hey, this is what happened. I don't know.
I will say that
everybody's at fault.
If you ran the analytics on the report card, which I don't know how you would do that.
Who knows? Yeah.
You would probably most likely find that winning and losing is the greatest influence on where the grades are at. Mm-hmm. So teams that win will have higher grades. Is it because they're doing it the right way, or is it because the team is winning and it makes the food taste better, makes the relationships better?
Well, this locker room is spacious all of a sudden.
Exactly. and so I think a lot of that has to do with it, and it was a tough year, and I think which obviously reflected in some of the grades, but I think it's good that the NFLPA does this, and I don't think it's the end-all, be-all, but I think it's an indicator, and it can be used to help spur change in situations where change is needed. And some of the categories that are kind of low, treatment of the families is right there at the bottom. I mean, they got an F in that, so but I don't know exactly what the good teams do differently, but I think as an organization you would like to find that out to maybe have that be a better grade going forward. Mm-hmm. Head coach was the second worst grade in the National Football League, 31st because Doug got a C. The other C, the food dining area, which is kind of surprising to me because here at the MEC, it's a brand new cafeteria. So is that you're not winning, the food doesn't taste good? Or is that the food needs to be better here?
I think I don't know, man. It's silly. But to give you an idea, you're talking about winning can change a lot of things.
Sure,
right?
Sure it can.
But why are the Chiefs ranked 26th out of 32 teams then?
In what?
In overall, 26th.
It's a great question.
The Chiefs.
It's a great question.
Their ownership gets a C-.
Great question. And what is Andy Reid's like the best coach or one of the best coaches on the list?
Right. He gets an A+. He was fourth.
Yeah.
But like facilities are a big demerit there for
a lot
of the players in
and
Kansas City,
here's the great thing. That report card now can get read from ownership to team president to Andy Reid to the city of Kansas City, which remember now there's a stadium thing kind of going on there that they'd like to have a better stadium and better facilities out of all of that, right? So, I think that this is another tool to help kind of get some of that change.
It also, and I don't know the Kansas City facility. I've never been to their actual football facility.
Well, you have. Well, no, you haven't been.
No.
You've never been to the stadium.
I've been to the stadium, but I don't know if they practice there too.
Yeah, there's facilities right there.
It's right there.
Yeah.
It goes to show you can win with.
I'm pretty sure the facilities right there. I'm almost positive.
You don't have to have you can go win if you have good football players.
Yeah, I mean, look.
No matter the surroundings.
Yeah, I mean, look. There's a lot of ways to win. I don't think you don't have to have the best facility, the best dietitian, the best food, the best coach, the best weight room, the best field. You don't have to have all the best of everything.
It can help.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
The most important thing you need is the right culture and the right players. Mm-hmm. That should be right there at top. But they don't have a culture category. But somehow the culture came up.
How do you rank cultures? Everybody's got a different.
That's a great question. I don't know that. But culture came up when it was evaluating Doug Peterson in the survey.
True.
On their overview.
Very true.
So, but there's not a culture category that I found, at least.
Culture is very strong in Philly these days, probably, because
of
Saquon
course.
Barkley showed up, too. That helps
And he
the
did. He got a
culture.
big, fat extension.
He certainly did.
$21 million a year, something like that.
He's worth it.
He's a great player. Great player. And he signed a new deal when he got there. So this is this added on, or did they renegotiate because I was trying to figure this out.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one.
We'll find that out.
Yeah,
We'll bring it up next week. But, I mean, he's the highest paid running back in the National Football League. He's the best running back in the National Football League. He should be the highest paid running back in the National Football League. I mean, what do you think Jalen Hurts is worth? Like, ignore what he's making now. If you had to put a number on Jalen Hurts in today's, not last year's cap or this year's cap.
Is he a $50 million guy?
I don't think he is. I think he's a really good football player. I don't think he's $50 million a year quarterback.
For Barkley, it's a 2-year, $41 million extension.
Extension, so it's tacked on.
So he's making over $20
What
million.
did he get up front out of that?
$36 million fully guaranteed at signing, and can earn an additional $15 million through incentives.
Good for him.
Oof. But it works so well because Hurts is such a weapon. Also,
no. Well, I mean, look, those two guys,
good,
two guys complement each other. Having Jalen Hurts, a running quarterback, makes Saquon Barkley a better back because the threat of Jalen Hurts running helps him from a number standpoint. So they help each other. Barkley helps take the pressure off the passing game, helps Jalen Hurts have a better pocket because of the threat of Barkley as a runner. It's complementary. So those two are really good for each other. Really good for each other. But, I mean, Jalen Hurts, if I had to put a number on him, I mean, Super Bowl quarterback, I mean, I'm giving him his props. But, I mean, he's not in the category of Mahomes, which Mahomes is a $50 million a year quarterback, right?
You going to let him walk?
Jalen Hurts? I don't want to let him walk. I mean, he won a Super Bowl for
Somebody will pay him.
50? You think somebody would pay him 50?
If he keeps playing at a high level and they keep winning games?
Oh, if they keep winning games, he's going to make 50. But, I mean, right now I'd put him in that 40 category.
I mean,
that's a lot.
He got the extension already. He's already got it.
And where's he at?
He's 51 a year.
He's 51 a year?
Yeah, he already got an extension.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Are you sure he's 51?
I'm looking at it.
He's at 51, and Trevor's at, what, 55?
He was drafted in 23 and then signed a 5-year.
He's a good football player. I know that. I love how he just stays cool and calm. There's points, though, and I'm kind of nitpicking here. I mean, sometimes he doesn't see the field as a passer, and I think leads to some frustration from his wide receivers, which has been noticeable over the last couple of years at times. But the threat of him running, the way that he can essentially guarantee a 3rd and 1, a 2nd and 1, or a 4th and 1 because of the push, and he's a big part of that. He's a really good football player and Super Bowl champion, so I guess he is worth 50, right? I mean,
it's getting paid,
especially when the cap is going to go up by how much this year?
Another 25 or so.
25 to 30 million, something like that. It's like every year it's just taking these huge jumps, and that's why a lot of teams are pushing that money out into the future because they just feel like, oh, well, the cap will keep growing just because it has been.
Probably will be.
It has been growing by a lot, too.
Especially when they redo all the media contracts in a number of years, too. They're all due about the same time.
Yeah, and then I guess a lot of these streaming services are talking about getting into the mix for the weekly broadcast stuff. I mean, not just little games here and there.
I don't know what Netflix played for the Christmas games, but it wasn't cheap to get 2 games.
No, and they're talking about maybe being a player for compete against a package with Fox or CBS to get a regular rotation.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, I can imagine.
I can definitely imagine.
A couple of years ago, I couldn't imagine that. But, I mean, nowadays, streaming services seem to be like the norm. It's not like it's a rarity anymore.
Hey, next week, Logs, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's going to be the day after free agency. So we might have actual
free agents
sign. Around and signed.
That's great.
You never know.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Wednesday,
4 o'clock. We're on the air Thursday, 4 o'clock.
So it starts Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Yeah. Okay, so they could end up having somebody walk in the door right at 4:01.
Yeah, they could, in theory. Fastest contract negotiation ever. Unbelievable. Have a great week, Lance.
Yeah, you too, and I'm looking forward to free agency and looking forward to what's next with this football team.
That's Jeff Lageman. I'm JP Shadrick. Our thanks to Joe Fortunato, Brent Reaver, David Cho, and our entire crew. And thanks to you for watching and listening. It's Jaguars Happy Hour.